We are here at Lake Mburo National Park. I'm by the name Frederick Wanyama. I'm the Chief Warden of Lake Mburo Conservation Area. Lake Mburo Conservation Area is one of the conservation areas managed by Uganda Wildlife Authority, and it consists of Lake Mburo National Park and the neighboring ranches, as well as other districts neighboring Kiruhura, Isinjiro, Masaka, Rakai, Chotera. Because all that area, we manage it because of human-wildlife conflict in those areas. So this is the center for managing that wildlife area. Lake Mburo National Park is a gazetted area, and at first it began as a community hunting area way back in the 1933s. Later on, it was upgraded to a game reserve. That was around 1963, 1964. It became a game reserve, and later on, it became a national park in 1983. When it became a national park in 1983, it had an area of about 650 square kilometers. But later on in 1986, the size was reduced to 370 square kilometers. So that was a reduction of around 56 or 57%. But still, we remained with a national park. This national park is a nice park. It consists of rolling hills, of course, and it has the savanna, grasslands, it has the acacia woodland, and it has the wetlands, so as well as the lakes. So it offers a unique ecosystem in this area. So given those different ecosystems, we have different wildlife species that are into Lake Mburo. One of them are in the impalas. Of course, impalas previously they were not found anywhere else. They were only found in in Lake Mburo National Park. But later on, there was dispersal through translocation. So Lake Mburo acted as a dispersal area, taking impalas to different protected areas like Pianupe, like Katonga. So those were impalas. We also have elands here. Elands are found in only 3 protected areas. Lake Mburo is one of them, as well as Kidepa and Pian. So Lake Mburo also gave a seed of elands to Kidepa Valley National Park. Then we have other wildlife like the leopards, the buffaloes, the oribis, the topis. And topis also found in very few protected areas. Just here, Queen Elizabeth only in the Shasha sector, and also Pianupe wildlife area. Lake Mburo offers different packages for the visitors. We have what we call game drives. We have the day game drives, which begin around 6:30, and the evening ones begin around 4 p.m. for visitors to enjoy seeing the wildlife in their pristine environment. The other thing we have here are the night game drives. Of course, the night game drives are important for visitors to see the nocturnal animals. Nocturnal, mostly these are the hyenas, the bush babies, and well as the leopards. So night game drives are of recent catching up. People are coming in a lot for the night game drives because of the leopards and the hyenas. Then we have cycling, of course, and horse riding, which we do hand in hand with stakeholders of Mohingo Lodge. Then also we have the boat cruises. Boat cruises are normal. You go to the boat cruise and you see the different water species within the lakes. The hippos, the crocodiles, as well as the water birds, African fish eagles, and the pied kingfisher. Then also we have the nature walk. We do nature walks here, guided nature walk, because visitors walking alone in the park without rangers can cause a threat, because most of them don't know animal behavior. But with a trained guide, you can be guided well for the nature walks. So all that are offered by Lake Mburo Conservation Area. Of course, we have challenges as a park, and one of the challenges is the human-wildlife conflict. boundaries of protected areas are porous and the land is continuous. And we all know that wild animals don't know boundaries. So wild animals go out of the protected areas and they cause human-wildlife conflicts in form of injuries to people, damage to crops, and also damage to other property, for example, dams. Of course, the neighboring community, most of them are pastoralists and farmers. The pastoralists have their dams for watering the animals, but sometimes they can wake up in the morning and they find hippos in the pools. So hippos are both a threat to them as well as the animals. We've had, of course, some death from hippos in the community. We've had also some death of wildlife, domestic animals caused by our leopards, and also crop damage by buffaloes. So the most problematic animal here is the hippo, followed by the buffalo. Those are one major ones doing human-wildlife conflict. But we try to do some interventions. For example, in areas that are far away from the protected area, we teach the communities how to manage this wildlife. Of course, hippos, for example, if you put trenches around your farms, hippos won't cross into your farm, and that has been done. Also, there's some short fences, short good fences. When you put them, the hippos can't cross to your farm, as well as fencing. So those are some of the protective measures that we are putting into place into the local community areas to deter wild animals injuring them. Lake Mburo itself is 370 square kilometers, but neighboring pastoralists. And pastoralists, of course, have vast land where their cattle graze. But in their land also, we have wildlife. So our wildlife is both inside the park and outside. Approximately 50% of the wild animals are in the ranches, while the other 50% are in the protected area. So what we do is normally we encourage the pastoralists to coexist with the wildlife. And usually they do that, they coexist with the wildlife. It's only that there's land use change in some areas neighboring the park where people are now doing farming. And this change in land use brings us a lot of conflict because animals go out and eat the crops. Okay, but also the other challenge we have is the grazing. Much as our animals go into grazing outside, there's also illegal grazing by the pastoralists inside the park, which is not allowed. So we try to curb that illegal grazing by either arresting the cows and then they pay the fines. That illegal grazing happens, and as well as also we have poaching. Poaching, of course, like we said, wild animals are on the farms. So some poachers take advantage of that because of the low ranger force that can operate on the farms. So they do what we call poaching on the farms. And as well as we have the Naki Valley refugee camp. People normally, the refugees do sometimes cross inside the park to do poaching. But we are vigilant and we try as much as possible to stop that. Then the other challenge we have is the sort of encroachment within the park. We have the Kizimbi area that is near Rakobo. In this area, there are people who are settled in the park. Okay, but these people, of course, will be compensated and they will go out. So the Uganda Wildlife Authority is working on modalities of how to compensate these people such that they can leave the parkland and go and live elsewhere. Now, on some of the conservation successes we've had here is we introduced giraffes here, and that was in 2015. We brought only 15 individuals of giraffes, but due to the environment they came in, it was very, very conducive. Food is in plenty, the water is available, and these ones range only within the in the protected area. They have not started going into community land and ranches. And currently we have a population of over 90 giraffes. So that is really what? A success story. And it has boosted tourism. Okay? Most of the visitors, when they're coming, they want to see the giraffes. And the giraffes are readily available. Okay? Even when you go for a game drive, you readily see the what? The giraffes. So that's one of the success stories we've had here. And yeah, the giraffe population is increasing. And when it reaches a certain level, still we can donate it to other areas. There are a range of animals that visitors can see are the zebras. We have a lot of zebras, lots of herds of zebras, both within the park and outside. So these ones are also readily available and they can be seen whenever you go for a game drive. Their distribution is wide within the what? The ecosystem of the park. Given the proper management of Lake Mburo National Park, animal population is on increase, is steadily growing. So this growing population has enabled other protected areas to benefit from Lake Mburo. For example, zebras have been translocated from Lake Mburo to Katonga. And the Katonga population is also now doing well. So visitors who go to Katonga are also well catered for. Local communities around the park are benefiting. One of the easiest benefits they are getting, of course, is resource access. Okay, there is resource access here. When they want things like firewood and poles for building their houses or building fences for the farmland, they approach us and they are able to access the resources. Then the other benefit they get from the park can be through sport hunting. Like I said, other animals outside the protected area. So sport hunting is majorly done in the ranches outside. So when they do sport hunting, there's a benefit that goes directly to the what? To the community. So that is one other way communities benefit. Then also we have revenue sharing. The revenue sharing, 20% of the gate collections go to the local community. That's by law in the Wildlife Act, Cap 315. All revenue, 20% is supposed to go to the what? To the community. So this revenue is used by the community in different forms. They have been able to improve on their school blocks or build new school blocks. They have been able to build hospitals or wards. And they have also been able to improve on their water system as well as their livelihood, because some of the money can go to livelihood. People can be given goats or cattle, cows, to improve their livelihood in homes. Then also there is access to the fishing village called Rubare. Rubare is inside the park and people are allowed to do fishing. So this also benefits home income of these people. And as they're doing fishing, we encourage them to have associations. So they formed an association where they collect money as a group. And this money is used for their development, outside the park. So currently for Lake Mburo, our general management plan has ended. And now we are in the process of making a new general management plan, which is going to run for the next 10 years. So in our general management plan, we are looking at new products that visitors can come to see here, which can boost growth of the of tourism.
Having said that, Mbarara, because of its beauty and best location, we have tourism areas that we border with, like Lake Mburo here. You can't go to Lake Mburo and you fail to be here in the city. You can't be in the city and you have always been told that there is Lake Mburo National Park and you fail to go and look at how it is and its beautiful sceneries, the animals, the lake, and all that. So this is the center of tourism. And recently, Minister of Tourism actually constructed the Mugaba Parsia at Kamukuzi here. It captured, it constructed the Mugaba Parsia in Kamukuzi. What does this Mugaba Parsi mean? It is Because our children here have forgotten about our culture. They are those ones that have never even heard, have never even seen a milk pot. They are those ones that have never even seen the grinding stone. So this Mugaba tourism site is going to bring into our children, young children, and even some people of our age have forgotten even their culture. They don't know even the clans. You will find that when you are there, you can know the Bashambo, this is the Tabo, this is this, this is this, this is this, and our origin, how the kingdom started, right away from the Bachwez to the time they were abolished, here in Ankole. So that history that we have been getting from books is now real. It is a reality. You go and you see this. We have all those areas in this city where one can come from Kampala. Even we are looking at tourism from abroad, but tourism should be promoted by ourselves here.
We continue to look at the tourism sector seriously in Mbarara city. One of them is that yesterday we opened the Mugaba Palace. The Mugaba Palace is part of the areas that tourists will come and learn about our culture and tradition. Because we now have the information of how we've gone through to be what we are now as Mbarara city. Why is it called Ankole? How did it come about? Now, Mugaba Palace is part of the areas that we are proud of, and we thank government, Ministry of Tourism, for having promoted Mugaba Palace to the level where it is. And we want to develop more sites that are of great importance to our culture here in Western Uganda. But we also want to thank the development partners. When we talked about the tourism sites, the hotels, there are those private people that have come in, even in the industries, the factories of milk, which are doing milk value addition. Of course, we have our local investors, and we thank them for having thought it fit to invest in Mbarara.
Behind us, there's a group of loser male buffaloes, which were chased away from the herd. Buffalo males, when they become sexually inactive, they are outcompeted by the stronger males, and that's the time they are chased away from the herd. And that's what makes them to become more aggressive. When we relate it to our daily lives, when you are a man and someone comes to your home and displaces you away from your home, you really don't feel good, and that's what these buffaloes feel like. The loser male buffaloes are the most aggressive animals. When you are moving in any park, please avoid getting close to the loser male buffaloes because they may charge you. They become frustrated after being chased away from the herd. Though in the herd is composed of 50 to 200 individuals, but you find all those, they are under control of one dominant male. So when he becomes sexually inactive, he's chased away from the herd. Then the other subordinate males, they take over. And when it's chased away, he becomes frustrated. Whatever he comes across, he feels like charging. And that's what happens. So when they are chased away from the herd, they group themselves as losers and they stay together. What you see behind, there is a mud, and when you look at the buffaloes, they are wet from the mud. So they have been wallowing. Wallowing is the process by which animals bathe in the mud in control of the ticks and cooling themselves. Behind us, there is a herd of impalas. They are the members of the antelope family, but some people who don't understand these animals mistake them to be the cobs. but there's a difference between impalas and the cobs. The difference is that for impalas, when you look behind, when you look at the buttocks, they have those 3 black stripes which are in form of letter M. But for the cobs, they don't have those stripes. Impalas socialize in large herds, but always in a herd, there's one dominant male that takes control of all the individuals in the herd. So when you look at this group behind, there is a dominant male, and the male is that one that has horns. Females have no horns. The dominant male chases all the young males away from the herd, then he stays alone, then he marks his territory with the poop and urine in order to advertise his presence, so that in case of any stranger male, he will come and sniff the urine, and then he will know he doesn't belong to that herd. And when he finds he does not belong to that herd, he goes back, except when he feels strong enough to fight away the dominant. There he will proceed and the fight starts. When the stranger becomes stronger than the dominant will be kicked out after fighting. And when he is kicked out of the herd, he is no longer a dominant, instead he is a loser. So the stranger takes over the herd and starts enjoying on all those females that you see behind. So when they are in their loser's herd, they don't relax. They keep on practicing, fighting one another, preparing one that will be stronger to take over the dominant in future.
You are most welcome to Lake Mburo National Park. My name is Sergeant Major Masco Moses, working as a head guide at Lake Mburo National Park. You are most welcome. The area began as a controlling hunting area early 1935 under the rule of King of Ankole, who would give special permission for fishing in lakes and hunting in the entire area. 1964, the entire area became a game reserve. By then it had a very big area beyond the Tamaka Road that indigenous people who were occupying the place were Bahima and the cultivators. 1983, it became a national park and opened to the public in 1984. 1986, after the current government came into power, many people were homeless. They were claiming enough land for settlement, so the government had to reduce the park size by 60%. Now the 40% remained, equivalent to 370 square kilometers. So the gates are the boundaries, the park is not fenced, so animals move in and out. So as Uganda Wildlife managers or the staff, we have a mandate to control animals both in and outside the park, because the animals don't know the boundaries. When they reduce the park size, those who are in community land, they remain there. So it's our mandate to protect wildlife in and outside the park. Here we have got hippos. Hippos here, they keep on the fringes of the lake. In other words, hippos like very shallow water. They live in very shallow water where they can stand, mate, socialize, and suck their young ones better, you know. They produce young ones alive after 9 months of gestation period. And when the mom is soon to have a baby, it will move from the deep water to shallow water, where the calf will be born and be able to stand and suck the mom. Meanwhile, the mom will be training a baby to learn how to swim, to learn how to hold the breath for a while. After learning how to do it, it will come and join formal school once again. Hippos are very big animals. A well-grown hippo weighs from 1 to 2 kilograms. So for that matter, they only mate in the water, because it's very difficult for a dominant male to mount on the female outside. As soon as it's getting dark in the evening, hippos will start moving outside to feed on the grass, and at night they can feed up to 40-50 kilograms of grass each night. Hippos have got short stumpy legs with well-displayed hooves, which can accommodate such a massive body. They feed normally on the short grass, they browse, and also they do feed on the papyrus. Like when they go scarce of grass, like during the dry season, they can feed on the papyrus. Hippos, they share habitat with fish, with Nile crocodiles, but they do defend themselves. They live in a group called a school, and each school of hippo is led by one dominant male. We have fish in the lake. The common fish here is tilapia. Other species are catfish, lungfish, and mudfish. So we have the fishing village. This Lake Mburo has only one fishing village. It's a rural fishing village across. So they do catch under our supervision. and it's controlled fishing. Geographically, Lake Mburo was formed as a result of water rivers because of upwarping and unwarping. Many years ago, rivers were flowing from Victoria Basin to Congo Basin. Because of some geographical reason in the west, some areas became mountains and the hills, so rivers could not continue. They had to reverse, and they formed such a big valleys here, and lakes were formed. As the Uganda Wildlife Authority and Lake Mburo at large, we normally experience human-animal conflict. So we do try to stop it or to reduce or fighting the conflict. As one way of introducing that we are digging dams. When you go by around the park, you will visit some of the dams. That was an intervention of creating dams so that we stop animals invading community dams, which they can attack their cows or sometimes kill the people or injure people. And for instance, here on Lake Mburo, on other lakes around here, we normally get a problem of fishermen being killed by hippos because they fish in the same habitat where the hippos live, or crocodiles. So that's why we are stopping fishermen from fishing on the shallow waters. We have different activities in the park. One of those it's a boat trip. Boat trips, we normally receive our guests and we have the schedules. We we normally follow from 8 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 4 o'clock. So each trip lasts for 2 hours. Our boat here, Impala boat, carries 46 people, 30 below deck, then 16 upper deck. So when the visitors get here, they are safe. We give them life jackets. There are guides inside, 2 guides, 1 lower deck, 1 upper deck, and we're our captain. We also have a crew for mechanics in case anything goes wrong. But we have not experienced anything like accident on the water. Visitors are safe, and our boats are always repaired and serviced, so they are in good condition. And what they expect to see, they see birds. Others are bird watchers, especially like in the morning. Those who take 8 o'clock boat, they are bird watchers. And we have a special bird here, African finfoot. African finfoot, we have it here and it's very reliable for photographers.
My name is Melka and I like birding on Lake Mburo.
On this lake, the most interesting part are the crocodiles. When you find them lying along the shores, opening their mouths, regulating their body temperatures, it is really very interesting.
I really enjoy the boat cruise generally. It is so interesting when you're having a ride on the water. You enjoy the cool breeze. Then as you are moving, enjoying the cool breeze, I also enjoy the hippos, especially when you find them in the schools.
I'm by the names of Peter and Tamara, a coxswain of Lake Mburo National Park. I'm requesting people to come and visit us in Lake Mburo National Park. We have a lot of items here to see. We have hippos, we have crocodiles, we have different birds. The important one like finfoots, the rare birds. So we encourage everyone to come and tour with us on the boat.
Therefore, I'm calling upon the locals within the country, instead of going to places like Mombasa or going to places like Zanzibar, there's a haven here for resting. You will feel at home. Just looking at the animals in the wild, you will feel at home. So I know the domestic tourism here is a bit improving. For example, in 2023-2024, we had around 10,000 local tourists, but those are East Africans. And in 2024-2025, we've had around 11,000. So there's an increase in visitation from the locals, but we are encouraging them to continue coming. The students, for them, they are increasing in coming because they're benefiting. One, to exactly see what they are studying in schools. They come and see the real thing in the wild. the scenery and they enjoy the thing. So we encourage more to come and see the pristine environment within what? Lake Mburo National Park. Now I would like to thank our board, the Board of Trustees of Uganda Wildlife Authority that are headed by Professor Kalema, for having enabled us or given us a strategic direction that Lake Mburo is following and the organization at large. I would also like to thank Dr. James Musenguzi, he's our executive director, for the guidance he has given us in management of these protected areas. Of course, he gives the guidance and also makes sure we get the fund to run the park. Without proper funding, then you can't do anything within the park. You wouldn't be having staff accommodation, staff wouldn't be comfortable. Recently, he enhanced the salary of the staff, and that was a plus, and people are now working very hard with one heart. Then lastly, I would like to thank the government of Uganda. Of course, the government of Uganda has provided peace, entire peace within the entire peace within the country. Without peace, wildlife cannot thrive. We know what happened in the 1970s. In the 1970s, there was unrest. And during that time, all the wildlife completely went down. This building of wildlife back started in 1986 when peace returned. And the populations are stably growing. And as they grow, also the park is growing in visitation numbers and also in different products. I encourage you to come to Lake Mburo to view the wildlife and enjoy the scenic view of the place here. You will feel at home for God and my country. Thank you very much.